In August 1992, a quiet man living off-grid in the Idaho mountains was labeled a threat by his own government. An 11-day siege would leave a boy, a mother, and a federal agent dead, and force America to confront the terrifying question, what happens when the government gets it wrong? Randy Weaver wasn't a criminal. He was a former Green Beret-trained Army engineer, a father of 4, and a devout Christian. He and his wife Vicki moved their family to a remote ridge in Idaho to live a life of independence, separate from what they saw as a corrupt and intrusive system. They were white advocates deeply rooted in Christian identity beliefs and were concerned about the direction of modern society. Weaver occasionally visited the Aryan Nations compound nearby, but was not a member. His beliefs were controversial, but his desire for privacy and self-governance was clear. In 1989, federal agents sent an undercover ATF informant, posing as a friendly gun enthusiast, to meet Randy Weaver at a white advocacy gathering. Over 3 years, they built trust, with Weaver believing they were genuine. Eventually, they pushed him into a technical weapons violation, sawed-off shotguns. In early 1991, Weaver was charged, but a court reminder letter from his probation officer was misdated March 20th instead of February 20th. When Weaver didn't show up, the court issued a bench warrant. He never realized the hearing had been rescheduled. Instead of notifying him, prosecutors took the case further. Meanwhile, they offered him a deal: become an informant on the Aryan Nations network, and the charges might disappear. Weaver, distrustful of federal authorities, refused. Once again, the government escalated, choosing surveillance, not reconciliation. On August 21, 1992, U.S. Marshals surrounded the Weaver cabin under cover of darkness. Their goal: arrest Randy Weaver for missing a court date, despite the fact that the error was not his. Living with the Weavers at the time was Kevin Harris, a 23-year-old family friend who had been staying with them for months. Harris shared their distrust of the government and helped with chores and protection on the isolated property. That morning, a surveillance team of 6 marshals crept toward the cabin to conduct reconnaissance. They attempted to enter and tragically released the family's dog, Stryker, who barked and ran toward the marshals. In response, they shot and killed the dog, hoping to avoid it alerting the household. The sound drew Randy's 14-year-old son Sam outside to investigate, where he was fatally shot in the back while retreating. This moment is still disputed, but agents claim they saw a weapon, even though none was found. Shortly after, Kevin Harris, having witnessed the boy's death, returned fire, hitting and killing Deputy U.S. Marshal William Deegan. Instead of de-escalating, the federal response escalated immediately. The FBI's elite hostage rescue team was deployed, with snipers and broad rules of engagement: shoot any armed adult male seen outside the cabin on sight. The stage was now set for an even greater tragedy. The next morning, August 22nd, Sniper Lon Horiuchi was stationed in a concealed position 200 yards from the cabin. The FBI's new rules of engagement authorized unprovoked firing at any armed adult male. Horiuchi claimed he saw a muzzle flash inside the cabin and believed danger was imminent. His first shot hit Randy Weaver's arm. Moments later, he fired again, this time through the front door frame. Behind that door stood Vicki Weaver, shielding her sleeping 10-month-old daughter. The bullet struck her in the face, killing her instantly. The impact sent shockwaves through the FBI. Horiuchi later said he didn't know she was there, but later, the same day of the shooting, while at a hotel, Horiuchi allegedly sketched a rough diagram of the cabin on the back of a piece of hotel stationery. The drawing included the position of multiple figures, with one marked behind the cabin door. This sketch was later used to hint that the FBI had a clearer understanding of who was inside the cabin than they admitted. That afternoon, desperately trying to negotiate, FBI agents used loudspeakers. Apparently unaware, Vicki was already dead. At dawn on day 3, they called out over a megaphone. What would Vicki and the kids like for breakfast? To the family, it wasn't just tone deaf. It was surreal, cruel, an eerie attempt at negotiation, addressed to someone already dead. For days after Vicki's death, the cabin stayed silent. Her body lay just feet from the rest of the family, covered with a blanket. Federal agents surrounded the ridge with spotlights and snipers. Helicopters hovered, news vans circled below. America was watching, but few knew what was actually happening inside. Then came a turning point. The FBI brought in Bo Greitz, a decorated Green Beret and Vietnam War hero, as a civilian negotiator. He was someone Randy trusted, Over several tense conversations, Greitz confirmed what the family already knew. Vicky was dead, and the federal government had no intention of backing down. On August 30th, Kevin Harris, wounded from the sniper's bullet, surrendered to seek medical attention. And the next day, Randy Weaver emerged with his 3 daughters, ending the 11-day siege. No shootout, no final assault, just a quiet, broken family, stepping out of the cabin that had become their grave. The federal government charged Randy Weaver with 10 felony counts, including murder, conspiracy, and assault. They charged Kevin Harris with killing a federal marshal, but in court, something unexpected happened. The jury didn't buy it. Randy Weaver's defense, led by famed trial attorney Jerry Spence, argued that the entire case was built on entrapment and government provocation. He presented the ATF sting as a trap, the court date confusion as a government error, and the deadly siege as a gross abuse of power. Spence didn't call a single witness. He didn't need to. The prosecution's own testimony fell apart under cross-examination, conflicting, vague, and in some cases self-incriminating. In the end, Randy was acquitted of all major charges. The only conviction? Failing to appear in court, a date he was never properly notified of. He served no additional time. Kevin Harris was fully acquitted, including of killing the U.S. Marshal, after the jury agreed it was self-defense. The government, facing civil lawsuits and national outrage, chose to settle quietly. In 1995, they paid the Weaver family $3.1 million in damages, $1 million each to the 3 surviving daughters, $100,000 to Randy himself. But no federal agent was convicted. No one was fired. Even sniper Lon Horiuchi, who killed Vicky, was charged with manslaughter in Idaho, but the case was dismissed on federal immunity grounds. Ruby Ridge became more than a standoff. It became a symbol of federal overreach, mistrust, and the consequences of unchecked power. In the years that followed, it was cited in congressional hearings, dissected in law schools, and whispered about in militia movements across the country. For many, it was proof that the federal government could and would violate civil liberties in the name of justice. The siege directly influenced how federal agencies handled future crises, including Waco just months later, and even Oklahoma City, where Timothy McVeigh explicitly cited Ruby Ridge as a catalyst for his radicalization. It changed the FBI's rules of engagement, narrowed the use of deadly force, and triggered calls for greater transparency in law enforcement operations. For Randy Weaver, it was a turning point too. He left Ruby Ridge, remarried, and largely disappeared from public life. But the scars on his family, on public trust, and on American history never fully healed.